Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Common English Mistakes. Don't just learn, improve. So today we're going to look at a mistake my students make all the time with the verbs hear and listen. We'll look at the general concept of when to use each one, a preposition mistake, which a lot of people make, why people make this and how to avoid it, a situation where people don't say something 100% wrong, but there's definitely a natural thing to say. And finally, for you high-level guys, we're going to look at all the phrasal verbs with hear and listen. So anyway, the mistake is up here. Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't listen. The context needs to be someone doing this. I'll explain why later. And well done if you said, sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear. So we say, I listen to pop music. I can hear traffic outside my window. Just pause the video and think, which one is active, your choice, you making an effort to do something? Which one is passive, just sounds going in? Which one is sensory, using your senses? And which one is cognitive, involves using your brain? And well done if you said that listen to is active, it's your choice, requires effort, and is cognitive, uses your brain. You process what the person says or what the music is, for example. And just be careful because a lot of people make this mistake. I listen pop music. Might be different in your language, but listen always needs the preposition to if there's an object. A teacher says, can you listen? No object, but I listen to pop music. Pop music is the object. So that's listen. Here is then a passive action. It's just sounds going into your ears. And it's sensory. Just uses your ears, not really your brain. And a lot of people make mistakes or say things which aren't natural when it comes to music. Saying things like this. I listened to a great song on the radio. You're driving in your car, the radio's on, you have no control, so it's passive, just the music going in your ears. So really you want to say, I heard a great song on the radio. Whereas if you type a song into YouTube or find a song, that's active, so you would say, I listened to their new song. Same with saying something like, I can't stop listening to this song. It's your choice. Whereas you might say, oh, I hear this song everywhere. I'm sure something like Despacito, we'd all agree, we heard that song everywhere. It just went into our ears whether we chose to or not. With albums, bands, or singers, probably more likely that it's active and you choose to listen to them, but the same concept applies. You could say, I heard their new album at a party at the weekend. Someone else played the music and it just went in my ears. It was passive, use here. Whereas you would say, I listened to this band yesterday. That was my choice. I pushed play. I listened to them. But we may also use one or the other depending on the length of the action or the length of the sound. So look at these two sentences here. I listened to a really interesting interview. I heard a crash in the kitchen, and think, which one's a short action, which one's a long action? And well done if you said a crash is a short action and we use here. Whereas an interview is quite long, we use listen to. So going back to our original example, when a student says, I didn't hear, that's what they mean to say, but it's not really true. The problem was they were talking to their friends, weren't paying attention, and they didn't listen. Having said that, as this is a long action, we really shouldn't say, I didn't listen. So we have an honest student here saying, I'm sorry, teacher, I didn't listen. See if you can correct the tense and make it more grammatically correct. And well done. If you said, in that situation, a long action in the past, want to use past continuous. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. We also then use here for when it's yes, no, did you register a sound? Were you aware of it? So you would say, did you hear the thunderstorm last night? Yes or no? And this is maybe a slightly different meaning. It also means be told about. So someone in your office says, there's a meeting tomorrow. You say, yes, I've heard. I was told about it. I registered it. So let's just review. Listen to if there's an object, is active, requires effort. Cognitive involves your brain and generally longer actions. Whereas here is passive, sounds going in, just sensory, using your ears, and often with shorter actions, or whether yes or no, you registered or were told about something. So anyway, explanation over. Before we get to the phrasal verbs, if you're listening to me and you've heard something interesting, do make sure to like and subscribe. Maybe share the video with your friends. Would mean a lot. But anyway, let's now look at the phrasal verbs. They're highlighted here in purple. So just look at the sentences, think about the context and what each phrasal verb means. And well done. If you said that, listen up, a very useful phrasal verb, is used when you want people to pay attention to you and listen to what you have to say. Often it's to a big group of people, and often it's important information, like where to meet on a school trip. And then listen in or listen in on someone or something is to listen secretly without the people knowing to a conversation or something. Think about either a very nosy person or maybe a spy. To listen in with no object, I think someone's listening in, or listen in on if there's an object. Someone's listening in on us, someone's listening in on our conversation. And then listen out or listen out for someone or something is when you make a special effort to hear a noise you are expecting. Most of the time, I think this would be the doorbell, and most of the time for that, when you're expecting a package from the postman or maybe an Amazon driver. And then to hear someone out is listen to the whole of what someone is saying. And usually you use it in the context like this, where you're not sure about what they're saying, but you hear them out. Or when you're asking for someone to listen to what you're saying. So I know this sounds crazy, but hear me out. Listen to all of what I have to say. And then hear from is receive contact from. Usually this is used after a long period of time. It doesn't always have to be spoken. If someone sends you an email after 5 years, you say, oh, I heard from Pete the other day. And then hear of someone or something is when you know the name or a little bit about it, but you don't know something very well. Generally, you probably use this in a question. Have you heard of this film? Have you heard of this singer? And then hear about, be told some news or receive the news. Generally, you would say, hear that, and then a clause. Have you heard that there's a test next week? Then hear about, plus whatever it is. Have you heard about the exam next week? So anyway, that's the phrasal verbs. Hope they're useful for you. There's no practice this week, but can you just complete this week's questions? And well done. If you said, what's the best song you've heard recently? Do you listen to any podcasts? Remember that preposition. And what can you hear outside your window? So do write your answers to those questions in the comments, guys. Good opportunity to practice, something people do make mistakes with. Anyway, that's basically it for today. I'm interested to hear what you've got to say. But other than that, I'll see you for another video in the next couple of days. Until next time, see ya.